The Miami Dolphins find themselves facing tough questions as they head into the 2025 season, and the quarterback situation remains at the center of it all. Tua Tagovailoa's health is a persistent concern, and last year's inability to secure a reliable backup quarterback is a decision that's hard to ignore. The team's choices, or lack thereof, may have significantly impacted their season, and now it's time to figure out how to fix it. Chris Grier, the Dolphins' general manager, has openly admitted that the team looked into bringing in a couple of top-flight backup QBs during the 2024 offseason. The interest was there, but the results weren't. Salary cap limitations made it impossible to close any meaningful deals, leaving the team with two unproven options, Skylar Thompson and Mike White. Training camp became a competition between the two, with Thompson ultimately earning the role. White was sent packing, eventually landing on the Buffalo Bills practice squad. The decision to stick with Thompson looked like a gamble, and it quickly became clear that the Dolphins didn't have much of a safety net. When Tua went down in Week 2, the team's lack of preparation became glaringly obvious. Panic set in, and the Dolphins scrambled to patch the hole by signing Tyler Huntley from the Ravens practice squad and Tim Boyle off the street. Neither of these additions brought any real stability or promise. The team wasn't just filling a roster spot, they were throwing whatever they could at the problem, hoping something would stick. The results? They speak for themselves, and not in a good way. Over the course of the season, the Dolphins' backup quarterbacks combined for a 2-4 record as starters. Their combined passer rating was an abysmal 78.67, numbers that would rank near the bottom of the league if they belonged to a single quarterback. These performances highlighted the importance of having a reliable backup. In a league where every win matters, Miami couldn't afford the inconsistency they got from their reserve quarterbacks. This is where things get even more complicated. The Dolphins are once again looking at an offseason filled with difficult decisions, and this time, there's no room for error. A backup quarterback isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. The team can't afford another season where they're scrambling to figure out the most important position on the field. The problem is that the Dolphins are still dealing with salary cap issues. They're already in the red for 2025, with only 37 players under contract, and that's a tough situation for any general manager to navigate. Restructuring contracts and making cuts might free up some cap space, but that only goes so far. The Dolphins also have other areas on the roster that need attention. The offensive line could use reinforcement. Defensive depth is an ongoing concern. How do you prioritize these needs while also making sure your quarterback room is stable? It's a high-stakes balancing act that leaves little room for missteps. The upcoming quarterback carousel will offer plenty of options, and that's where Grier needs to make his move. Veteran players, younger prospects, and journeymen alike will be available, and the Dolphins must choose wisely. The challenge, of course, is finding someone who fits their system, can contribute immediately, and doesn't blow up their budget. Players like Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett, or Taylor Heineke might be on the radar, quarterbacks who've proven they can step in and manage a game. The question is whether Miami can afford someone like that and whether those players would even consider joining a team where the starting role is off the table. Then there's the elephant in the room, Tua Tagovailoa's health. No matter how optimistic fans or the organization want to be, the reality is that Tua has dealt with concussions and injuries throughout his career. The Dolphins have no choice but to plan for the possibility that he might miss time again. That's not being pessimistic, it's being realistic. And yet, there's a delicate balance to maintain here. Bringing in a high-profile backup could create tension or raise questions about Tua's long-term future with the team. On the other hand, doing nothing sends the message that the team is willing to take another gamble with no safety net. Drafting a quarterback is another option, though it comes with its own complications. Would the Dolphins use one of their early picks on a backup? How would that impact Tua's confidence? These are tough questions that Grier and the front office will need to answer, and they can't afford to get it wrong. The pressure on Grier this offseason is immense. Fans, media, and even the organization are keeping a close eye on how he handles the quarterback situation. The excuses from last year won't fly this time around. Everyone knows what's at stake, and everyone knows the team can't afford to repeat the mistakes of the past. This isn't just about the backup quarterback. It's about the direction of the entire franchise. Are the Dolphins committed to making the tough choices necessary to build a consistent contender? Or are they content to keep rolling the dice, hoping for a different outcome? Every decision this offseason will play a role in shaping the team's future, and the clock is ticking. Chris Grier has no margin for error, and the fans are waiting for answers.